an investor in a lot of really successful startups. So what do you look for in founders? We'll talk about founders first. What do you look for in the founder when you're going to invest in the startup?
So one of the super important things that I look in the founder is how passionate and knowledgeable and experienced they are about the sector and the problem they are solving, right? So it's in the area that I call founder market fit, right? So I think the most risky startups is where the founder tries to solve a problem with which they don't have intimate knowledge or relationship since many years, right? So the best performing founders are those that are going for the problems in the markets that they have been really familiar with, that they understand what they're doing. And the tough is for founders that go into difficult markets in which they don't know what are the problems there. So that's one big thing. Another thing is that the founder is able to do sales in wider sense, in sense that can they speak very convincingly? Can they convince investors, teammates, potential co-founders, customers about their vision? Can they make vision sound both succinct and clear, but at the same time really big and significant, right? So that's I think some of the more kind of difficult cases for me to invest are the founders that are able to build a business and have traction, but that get lost in trying to explain the grand vision. If they cannot really explain the big vision behind the business, it's not really a venture backable thing, right? It could be a good business, but it's difficult to build it into something that VCs would be supporting.
Okay.
So these are a few things. And as a function of that, right? So are they able to hire, right? So, and I think that, of course, when the team is super small, it's often difficult to measure that. But what I like a lot is looking at teams of 3, 5, 6 people and see if these people are outstanding. And if I see that probably the people are more like on the average side, that's a problem, right? If I see outstanding people, that's great. So that's definitely.
Does that kind of go along with the saying, A players hire A players, C players hire C players? So if it's a team of C players, then the founder more or less is definitely not an A player. He might be a B player, but he can't get that A player talent to come on his team to work with him.
Yeah. So basically, if you see at least one C player on the team, then you can guess that somebody who hired him is probably not an A player. I agree.
That makes sense. And then you talked about founders have to be passionate in the market. This, makes me a little bit curious. Seeing all these startups, they're all talking about AI. They want to use AI and implement AI. But how many founders actually know and understand AI? Because you're an expert in kind of AI and machine learning. You've been doing it for a really long time. So I'm sure you see this a lot where a founder says they want to use AI to solve this problem, but I don't think they really understand how AI is going to be used in the full implementation and the execution that's going to have to take place in order to accomplish their mission.
I agree that this is an issue, especially this year when AI became on everybody's forefront. And you remember a couple of years ago, a lot of startups tried to implement blockchain for no good reason, just because everybody was talking about blockchain. But here's the thing, that I think with AI, one thing is different, is that AI becomes such an important tool that it will be difficult at some point to build a startup without AI. And in the same way that you cannot build a startup without cloud pretty much anymore. People built startups without cloud 15 years ago, but now you probably are using some cloud. And I think what we will get to in several years is that startups will again stop talking about using AI, but they will be using AI internally because it just makes so much sense technically to basically reduce your engineering costs or other costs because they will utilize AI. But at the same time, people will stop talking about it because using AI, it will not be a necessary advantage because everybody will be using it.
Yes.
This year is a little bit unusual that using AI sounds like, oh, you are like, a visionary and like, but it's going away. I feel that because it's so obvious that every startup founder that's worth anything is using AI in this shape or that. The question then, though, is that some startups are specifically focused on, for them, AI is absolutely critical, right? And there are some startups that wouldn't be possible last year or 2 years ago before AI was developed, right? And that's an important difference. But at the same time, every year or 2 years, there is some another reason why new startups are coming up. And that's another question that I ask when potentially evaluating an investment. Why now? Meaning that this startup, why should we invest this year in a startup like this? Why the startup like this wasn't possible or wasn't feasible or wasn't needed 3 years ago?
Right.
And why would it be successful now versus let's wait 2-3 years because it's too early, right? So, and AI made another wave of why now startups that are only possible this year and were not possible before. But at the same time, next year and a couple of years from now, there'll be more, things made possible by technology, and there'll be the next thing. One thing that I want to mention is that really good VCs that are building firms that are long-term, like 10-year, 20-year, 30-year firms, they know that building a business, selling a product, and being an entrepreneur is essentially the same, and everything else is a tool, right? So firms like Sequoia or others that have been existing for a while, they were able to, back startups before AI was a thing, before cloud was a thing, right? And they should be able to back entrepreneurs later. We are only out there for 2 years, right? And we have already seen several significant changes in that time, right? So NFT were a thing, and now they're not really a thing, right? So LLMs, nobody knew what it is. Now it's all the talk of it, right? But one thing that we focus a lot is, and this is the timeless completely. One is we invest in startups where founders really care about solving customers' problems, right? So there is problem, there is a pain point. The customer cannot solve this problem or pain point using competing solutions, and is happy to pay for somebody to solve it. And this founder knows how to build a solution using technology. This is important, right? Do they use AI? Do they use NFT? It doesn't really matter, right? So what matters is that the solution is built. That's one. And second angle that's really important, that we like to back founders that are on forefront of technology, in sense that they are not building legacy, outdated solutions, that their solutions utilizing that they're smart and knowledgeable to utilize the most recent technology, and they will not get outraced by somebody more closer to the forefront of technology, right? So to summarize, as long as the founder knows how to use the newest technology and they really focused, first of all, on the customer's problems, that's great. So and that's what we focus on right now and 10 years from now.